Hey guys, welcome to the One Delightful Podcast,
where we believe life should be simple.
but awesome. I'm Katie.
And I'm Philip, and we invite you to join us on a journey as we try to start a new business and grow our family.
While trying to clear through the clutter of life to create space for what really matters.
And trust us, if we can do it,
Anyone can do it.
on today's show,
We have a special announcement.
we'll spend most of our time talking about 6 ways to get through the holidays without wanting to punch someone in the face.
And then we'll wrap up with what do you recommend? This episode of the podcast is sponsored by One Delightful Shop. And we're doing something this winter that we wanted to share with you guys.
I'm really excited about this.
So for every pair of earrings purchased from our shop from November to December, we're giving a pair of earrings to a woman in need in the area.
Oh, yeah, can you say a little bit more about the ministry it's supporting?
I would love to. There's a group in our area called Loved by Route 1. And so Route 1 is a just super busy street in our area. And there's a ton of businesses, but there's also a ton of poverty and there's a ton of strip clubs, which Philip's going to have a hard time not laughing about that because he's a child.
I wanted to say ooh la la, but I
Right.
feel like it's wildly inappropriate
Yes.
given the context.
So a lot of the women that work in strip clubs are basically it's like being sex trafficked. They're having to do this to earn a wage for their family. It's hard for them to get out of that industry. A lot of them have kids and they're working hard to support their kids. So there's a group of women in our area that have decided that they want to care for these women in these strip clubs. And so, as strange as it sounds, they actually go to these strip clubs to befriend these women, to let them know that they're loved. And at Christmas time, they assemble really sweet care packages for them and their kids.
And so they're going to get One Delightful Shop earrings.
They're going to
this
get
year.
One
That's
Delightful Shop
awesome.
earrings this year. So this was something on my mind a few years ago, and I decided to make it happen this year. So every pair of earrings that you purchase as maybe a teacher gift or for a friend or a stocking stuffer, you can know and think of the women in our area that are going to also receive those earrings and be supported.
You might be wondering why we're playing the Canadian National Anthem.
Well, this is our special announcement. We started to look at our analytics and we wanted to say hi to our Canadian friends.
Hello, listeners from Canada. We are glad you are here.
And I feel like we're kindred spirits because we're in Massachusetts and it's all cold AF.
You are... Holy cow, that is wildly inappropriate. But you are our neighbors to the north, and we are so glad you're here.
Yes, so thanks for tuning in, our Canadian friends. And if you want to say hi, we'd love to know who you are.
Yes, please let us know. How did you hear about the podcast?
Identify yourselves.
Katie, I cannot believe that it's already November.
Well, you're going along in October thinking,
Whoop-de-doop-de-doo.
hum-de-doo-be-doo. It's just October, there's foliage, and then, bam, November 1, it is Christmas holiday season.
I have to get out all my cornucopia decorating supplies, and it gets very stressful because I've got to buy so many gourds for so many people.
I don't even think that's what stresses people out. I think it's more that the Christmas season is pushed on us so early that we're OMG, gotta get ready for Christmas. And there's just a lot of activities that happen around Christmas.
Yes. And if you're in a situation like yours, running a
Yes.
retail business, it's even crazier.
Yes, so in the last episode, if you haven't listened, we did some tips on running a small business and some of the things that we've learned through the past few years. And being in retail specifically, I've been in retail kind of serving women who are doing a lot of Christmas shopping, and the holidays have inevitably been crazy. And on one hand, you really want to take advantage of it being the best holiday season of the year. That's always been the struggle for us.
Because on the other hand, I think everyone wants a Norman Rockwell Christmas season.
Right. You want both.
You want chestnuts roasting on an open fire, everyone kicked back, relaxed, Christmas movies, Christmas cookies,
Right.
Kwanzaa celebrations.
But if you are also having a retail shop like we do, you want to have a kick butt month or two, too. So it's hard to have both.
So we go into the Christmas season wanting things to be great and idyllic, and we exit the Christmas season thinking, holy cow, we did not achieve that.
Yes. And even broader, I mean, not just Christmas, but I think that we're in America. Hello, Canadian friends again. I wonder what that's like in Canada. Are they big, like, just Christmas people?
I don't know. They do have Mounties.
They also have Boxing Day. Isn't that Canadian?
And I believe a Christmas treat might be snow with maple syrup drizzled on top.
That sounds good. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what we thought we would talk about today...
I know that from watching Conan O'Brien when he spent a week in Canada about 12 years ago.
Oh, okay. We should try that this winter.
Drizzling maple syrup
Yeah.
on snow. Just don't do the yellow snow.
Okay. So we thought that this episode we'd talk about 6 ideas to get through the holidays without punching someone in the face.
Who would you want to punch in the face over the holidays?
I don't know. You?
Well, that's what I was
Most
expecting
likely
you to say.
you.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, I don't
That
mean to
just
sound...
got incredibly aggressive. Why should we talk about that a little bit?
No, I think we're good. We're good right now. We're drinking our coffee. We're happy. The fire's going. But it's going to get crazy, you guys. So let's talk about 6 tips to get through the holidays without punching someone in the face. Our first tip, and this is just a general life tip as well that we apply every week, is to plan. Look at your schedule and decide what are your priorities during the holidays. If you need some help deciding on your priorities, you might want to review episode 105, right, Philip?
That's right. Prioritizing your priorities has everything you need.
Yes, and there's even a little worksheet. But I thought, I've never done this before, but I thought it could be cool to even come up with like a word or two that you want to be your words during the holiday.
I've been thinking, could I do a hyphenated word?
Like what?
Yuletide.
What does that even mean?
I'll have to look it up, but doesn't it seem festive?
Well, and I think, okay, so we've already talked about manifesting things in the past. I don't know what episode that was, but I know we have because a girl manifested a hair straightener. But
Yuletide.
But I do think there's a little bit of the mindset vibe too with this, Like,
Yes.
yeah, like, okay, we're going to choose joy over the holidays.
Yeah,
Or
no,
we're
I
gonna
think
pursue simplicity or something,
I think choosing a word is a great
Yeah.
idea, and I'm sorry that I made a joke about it with that whole Yuletide thing, but I think choosing a word's a great idea. And I think planning out what you're going to do week by week through the holidays
Right.
is an incredible idea because it's so easy for the holidays to get away from you.
Right.
So our routine is generally Sunday mornings before church. We have sort of a lazy morning with our kids.
Yeah.
And while they're watching a television program, we will take a half an hour to 45 minutes and open up our calendars and just walk through the week. And it is super helpful to sort
Right.
of know what's going on with each other.
We're still generally like every other day, like, what are you doing today? But it's still helpful because then you can be like, I already told you.
Yes.
And then you can rub it in my face.
Oh, I thought you were doing it with me.
Whatever, either way. So planning, we suggest that as a weekly habit, but over the holidays you might want to do like a plan it out November and December. And then if you have a word and your priorities, then you can filter things through that. So if it's like,
Yuletide.
I don't know how you filter things through Yuletide.
Let's pick joy instead.
Okay, or simplicity, say.
What about ho ho ho?
If that's your priority and you are trying to be home more and live more simply and you get invited to 10 Christmas parties, maybe you pick the most important 3 ones instead of all 10.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Okay, and then let's skip down to yours, the one that, most of these are mine and Philip affirmed to them, but I think that this next one kind of fits in with the planning.
That is good, because at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of what happens is you go in to the holiday season sort of like you go into the fall or the new year with incredible intentions, and then stuff gets crazy. You don't do what you wanted to do, and so you feel somewhat like a failure, right? So I think we're going into the holidays thinking we want to make choices to make this holiday better than previous holidays, but we're also going in realistically knowing you do run a retail shop. We are going to be traveling. And
I've said every year that I want to be done with Christmas shopping by December, and it hasn't happened yet.
So there's probably also going to be a sense where it's unrealistic to expect it to be perfect all of a sudden because we're trying two new things. But one thing that's helped us in the midst of the craziness to still do stuff that we're really excited about doing that we feel like would make something like the holiday season go great is to have a bucket list.
Yes.
I have been so excited about this because for fall,
I think
for
I did one in the summer, yeah.
Katie has like a chalkboard picture. What would you call that?
It's just chalkboard.
Just like a chalkboard
I mean, it's
up
an
in our
old
kitchen.
picture. If we found out what was under there, it would be fascinating. I'm pretty sure it's a deer.
Oh.
Like, no, but more like a hunting scene.
Ooh.
I got it at a yard sale and painted chalkboard.
Right
paint
when
on
you
top.
walk in our kitchen door, the first thing, one of the first things you see is this chalkboard picture. And in the summer and in the fall, Katie wrote down summer fall bucket list and had 7 to 10 things on it that we were hoping to do during that season. And I'm a big list person. Like, I have a really hard time having unfinished to-dos on my list. And so to-do lists really motivate me. So if we do a Christmas bucket list and have 6 or 7 things on it that we want to do by Christmas, that for me will be a huge motivation to, even in the midst of the craziness, try to get it done.
Yes. So that, and I think that's one way of not feeling like you have to do everything, because you can be like, I did the things that I needed to do.
Yeah.
And there's like a grace timeline with that too.
Totally.
You know, it's not like you have to do it tonight, but you could do it at some point over the holiday. So our third thing is an idea I got from the Nester, which is to decorate for the winter, not just Christmas, which this is a pretty small one, but especially where we are in New England, or maybe shout out to our Canadian friends, where it's cold and dark. It's about
Universal
to get dark.
healthcare. Don't lock their doors.
But it's pretty depressing in the winter. So, and I kind of hate when we have to take down all the Christmas decorations.
It's one of the
in
most
January. It's the
depressing
saddest.
times of the year. Your house goes from being so full of life and joy to being the most depressing space ever.
So this year I'm going.
Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration.
But it's so sad. Like, it's such a sad shift. So I'm gonna try the Nestor's idea of decorating more for winter and maybe incorporating some Christmas things rather than it being like, we're decorating for Christmas and now we're taking down Christmas and we're all sad on January 1.
So we could have, instead of a Christmas tree, we could call it a winter tree.
That's true. Especially if we get a fake tree.
That's true. It could just stay up. No, we'll probably take the tree down, but maybe we're going to decorate with blues and grays instead of reds and greens.
Sure. I was thinking ivory, but whatever. Okay, so that's the thought. And also, shout out to the Lazy Genius. I'm going to put a link to her holiday post. She has lots of great ideas on how to make the holidays simpler, including some worksheets. And that was part of the inspiration of this title. Because,
and we also ripped off her name,
yeah.
right?
So her title, she has a blog post on how to decorate for the holidays without punching someone in the face. But don't worry, I didn't just rip it off from her, because, I mean, 2 weeks ago I said...
Lots of people talk about punching people in the face. Boxers,
but if you...
hockey players.
2 weeks ago at a MOPS planning meeting, we were trying to find a game of something that is fun and competitive, and I was like, it can't be too competitive because I might want to punch someone in the face.
It's really, this seems to be a violent urge that
I know,
really
but
comes
you know
up in
what?
you a lot.
I never punched someone in the face before.
One time it was like 7th grade, there was this kid named Graham
Not
who
necessary.
rode. the same bus as me, and for some reason we always got into a fight because we made fun of each other's shoes. He had Skechers and I had Airwalks.
So both
and
weren't
so we
cool.
decided, well, touche. So we decided we were going to fight after we got off the bus.
Oh my gosh.
And
What
here's-
grade? Say again.
Like 7th grade, something like that. It was
Wow.
an innocent, fun little romp after
Okay.
the bus ride. But I could not bring myself to hit him in the face.
Did
nor
he hit you
nor
in the
he
face?
me.
Okay.
No. So
wow, that is so strange.
I just don't have it in me. I think I'm a lot more flight than fight.
Okay. Yeah, you are. Because I'm the aggressive one.
As,
If anyone.
as noted by how many times you've talked about punching people in the face
Okay.
already. So
All right.
what's next?
Yes. So the next one is to shop early, which is like kind of a no-brainer, but it's if you can, you will thank yourself in late December for doing this.
Yeah, and I feel like online shopping makes Christmas shopping a lot easier.
Yeah.
The shadow side is it could be more last minute easier,
Right.
but online shopping makes it pretty easy
Well,
to buy gifts for
And
people.
honestly, planning ahead means you don't have to just order from Amazon Prime. Because at that
What?
I love Amazon.
Where else would you
no,
buy
I
stuff
love
from?
Amazon Prime. I'm not saying anything bad about it, but at the end, like so it's December 15th. I want to know my stuff is going to be here in time, so I'm going to buy Amazon Prime.
Right.
But if it's December 1, I have like 2 weeks and it's okay and I can buy like a handmade gift or support or a smaller business. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Okay, so there's that. But I feel like gift giving is one of my love languages. So it's fun for me to think about what to give people.
And it's terrifying for me to think about what to give you.
Right. But I can help Philip out by making a list for myself, which I do often do on Pinterest.
It's the greatest thing ever. Katie has a board that's just like,
You've
buy
already
me.
talked about this.
I'm saying it again because
Okay.
it's so great. Just buy me this stuff. And does it take a little bit of the sparkle out of the holidays? Yes. But it makes you not punch me in the face on Christmas morning.
Right. So, but because I love giving gifts, I like to plan it ahead because it's a joy for me to give people gifts and give them something I think they will like. But if I have to rush it at the end, those last minute purchases are usually not the best ones. They're
Remember-
usually guilt purchases. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I feel like the other thing for me, as the person who likes clutter the least,
Right.
is Christmas is such a culprit for more clutter in your life because especially with kids,
Right.
toys aren't that expensive and you want Christmas morning to be awesome for them. But think about February where you're stuck inside in the winter and how much more stuff you're going to have as you're buying.
Right.
And maybe think about maybe one big thing or experiences
Yeah.
instead of having to
Right.
buy so much stuff because more stuff equals more clutter in
Yeah.
February and March and July.
Right. Because I don't know if other people feel like me, but a lot of times my parents did, Santa did an awesome job with Christmas when I was a kid. And so I think about how awesome that was. And so I just want it to be the most magical day of all time for them. But a lot of times it's not like going overboard with the presents that makes it like that for our kids, because it's usually one thing that they're like loving playing with.
Like a box.
Not really.
Remember that with the real little kids? They just
when-
like the box.
I know, right? So being intentional about shopping, if you can, try to think ahead of time. So all of this is just a little bit of forethought, and that's why we're talking about it in November.
Well, I think that one also leads into the next tip, which I'm going to give as the 12 days of Christmas. Because I know for me too, from when I was a kid until today, I get so depressed once all the present opening is done on Christmas morning, right? Because you
Right.
spend all this time building up to anticipating this like 20 minutes of chaos, and then it's just sort of done. And if you really
Right.
think about it, it's like pretty depressing to have that much anticipation just like over.
Right.
But you found this idea last year
Yes.
about doing the 12 days of Christmas.
Yes. Shout out to my friend Sarah. She posted about the 12 days of Christmas, which is really the holiday starts on on December 25th.
Like in the Christian calendar or
Yes, in
something,
the Christian
right?
calendar. And so there's really meant to be 12 days of celebrating on December 25th,
That gets
and then
kicked
after
off
that.
on the 25th.
Yeah, and I think especially because we're, like I said, we run a shop, but I think for most people, the holidays feel insane. We feel like we have to rush Thanksgiving out the door because Christmas is the best and you want to soak every little ounce of it. But December 26th, the radios have stopped playing Christmas music.
Some radios. And now
No.
everybody does Pandora and Spotify.
No,
so.
but they're like, okay, if you do XM radio, it's gone. They've all moved on, and it's like the saddest thing ever. And so I saw this post by my friend Sarah last year about her family celebrating the 12 days. So that's something we are going to highlight again this season. You don't need to plan this now, but if you want to do some research on it, we're going to include a link in the show notes to, like, each day kind of has I think maybe a saint it's associated with. So I don't know if this was maybe like a Catholic interpretation of the
Probably.
12 days of Christmas, but I love the idea. I think that we would really love for Christmas not to feel like we have to squeeze it all in before December 25th and that we need to rush it out the door. And
So what if the 25th was just the kickoff?
Right.
And instead of it all happening on the 25th, it started on the 25th, and presents and food
Right.
and celebration and hanging out with people happened the week after when people are sort of around
Right.
anyway.
And I think on the 5th they call that, did I say it was the Epiphany? Okay, you
On
don't know
January
anything.
5th,
Yeah.
that's the end of it?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's-
doing the math, carry the one. Yep,
Yeah,
that
it's
sounds
January
about
5th.
right.
So there's kind of like a closing to it. And that was something that I've heard from the Lazy Genius in the past is she kind of likes to put bookends on things. So it's like, sorry, what's so funny?
One, I was thinking it sounds like the Olympics, and two, I was thinking, could the closing ceremony be when you set your Christmas tree on fire?
Maybe. Our area does have a party at the beach to light all the Christmas trees on fire, which is a great idea. But it's like,
Wonderful, wealthy pyromaniacs.
I mean, the end of Christmas will always be sad, right? I
Yes.
mean, and sometimes you're like, I'm ready for it to be done too. But I like the idea of kind of creating some traditions around it rather than December 26th being the saddest day of the year.
Yes, I love it. So we will talk more about that on a future podcast episode.
Yes.
All right, we have one more tip.
Okay. So our last one, we're going to keep this really short, is the idea
I'll
of...
stop and I'll be short.
That's for Tim Toy. Our last one is a Sabbath, which is basically a day of rest, is the idea. And so I think this is important year round, but I think especially during the holidays when life feels crazy. So I heard somebody talking about how a lot of times the weekends, maybe some parents can relate to this, but probably most people can relate to it, is the weekend can kind of suck because you think it feels like any normal day. And it's like, I'm doing housework on Saturday, I'm doing housework on Sunday, nothing actually feels like it's a rest. So as hard as it is, at times we've tried to apply this idea of a one day of rest rather than two. And the thing that we found is if we intentionally try not to rest on, for us it's usually Sunday, if we intentionally try to rest on Sunday, then on Monday we're kind of itching to do some work stuff because you have deliberately chosen to not do work on Sunday. So I think that this is a great thing to apply during the holidays, and I think it would be a gift to you and your kids too.
So those are our 6 tips for how to
Yeah.
not want to punch someone in the face over the holidays. We hope that that was helpful for you to maybe just get you thinking about how to have a great holiday season with your friends and family. And we'd love to know, is there anything else you're trying that you think other people might benefit from hearing? So please reach out and let us know.
Yeah, you can send us an email at onedelightfulshop@gmail.com.
We're going to end today's show with What Do You Recommend, where we make a recommendation of something we love in the world. Katie, what do you recommend this week?
So I am recommending The Making of a Murderer Part 2 on Netflix.
You are so violent and dark today.
Sorry, but I really love shows like this. Like The Staircase was really good on Netflix too. I don't know.
I'm
Hold up.
sweating bullets over here just thinking about it. I can't watch any of this stuff.
I might be a counterphobic 6 at times, but on the Enneagram. They put out a second part to the Making of a Murderer. I've accidentally listened to 9 episodes this week, and I'm almost done. But it's just, it's fascinating because it's real life, and it's similar to, I guess, Serial's kind of highlighting stuff like that this year. Do you
That's
even know what
true.
Making of a Murderer is about?
It's about something freaky that I don't want to put in my life right
Well,
now.
I mean, this man was like wronged because of kind of who he was.
Well, I'm glad the justice system is potentially standing up for him, or they're not. That's sort of what Serial's
it's more
about
like
this
the
season, that
Innocence
they're
Project
not.
is like,
Oh,
I think
I
that
see.
it might have been picked up by them. See, that's what happens when you just listen to Netflix while you're doing work at the same time and not watch it.
So if you like freaky deaky stuff, which I understand most people do, and it's more like suspenseful.
Right. It's not like...
But you've loved
I'm
it.
not watching the ghost stories thing that's being highlighted on Netflix right now. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
It's
I
at the
don't
top.
want that in my
Okay.
life. I want to keep watching Norm Macdonald and live in my happy little bubble.
Okay, so that's mine. If you haven't watched it, you'll love part 1 and part 2. So, Philip, what do you recommend?
My recommendation this week is a tangible product that we will link to, and it is this French press coffee.
We are enjoying a cup right now.
Oh man, we've never tried French press before. Maybe you have, and you're like, oh, I've been French pressing for years. But for us, it is a new experience, and it has been amazing.
Yeah.
We stayed at friends' houses who didn't have a regular coffee maker. They just had a French press, and so we were sort of forced into using it. And it was just a coffee taste explosion. So not every morning. We still use a coffee maker most mornings because you can set it the night before. But for a special treat, we have greatly enjoyed a French press coffee maker. And we'll link to one like the one that we have in the show notes.
Great.
That's going to do it for this week's episode of One Delightful Podcast.
Thanks for listening. We'd love if you would give us a review, maybe leave a few positive words. It means so much to us.
If you are curious about anything we talked about during the show today, make sure and check out the show notes either in iTunes or on our podcast blog.
And when you do, you'll find a link to Amazon, which you can support our podcast in a very small way by using that when you're shopping on Amazon. Maybe for your last minute Christmas gifts.
Ooh, that's a great idea. What was the best purchase using the link this week?
So my favorite item was the Fitbit charger. Somebody is going to charge up their Fitbit.
Somebody's getting their steps in.
They are being blessed, and we are being blessed.
They are going to use the relax feature to do some breathing exercises.